the crater, well, that would be a good name for it, the Cradle. It's a pro-Islamist, leftist, Marxist publication, but they have very good graphics. So I'm very ecumenical in my use of graphics. So this is the Cradle. And what do we have here? So this is going to take that's probably take till the end. Well, no, I'm going to have to do it some other time, but I will do part of it. What do you see here is this is what Netanyahu talked about a week before October 7th. This is what Mohammed bin Salman was giving interviews about. This is what Joe Biden went to, I don't know where they met, India or someplace in Asia, about the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, IMEC it's called. India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. I don't think Europe got their own E, but maybe they did something wrong. They got their E taken away in that acronym. But it talks about this planned project to connect India and Europe and trade to avoid that circle there, the Suez Canal, because of what the Houthis in Yemen are doing to shut down shipping. So now everybody's got a plan. You've got the Azerbaijani corridor, you've got the Russia-Iran corridor, and they're at Basra, and the line going up from Basra through Turkey. And this is where some of my Bible prophecy friends get really excited. About 300 miles north of Basra is the site of the ancient city of Babylon. So they look at Revelation 17 and they say, Babylon is in Revelation 17. So it's Babylon in Iraq. And I just wanted to be 100%. There's a lot of different theories about what Mystery Babylon is in Revelation 17. Some people think it's the United States. Some people think it's Jerusalem. Some people think it's Babylon in Iraq. Some people think it's the Vatican. So what do? I watch all of them, and then I ding the guys on their views. And they say, well, you oppose. No, I don't oppose your view. I'm trying to, iron sharpens iron, right? So I'm a lawyer. I'm cross-examining you about your views. So, for example, Babylon, they've got investment going on there. They've built 2 berths of a big port at Basra, but they're talking about it's not going to be done until 2035. And my point is, if Babylon in Iraq is the Babylon of the end times, there's an infrastructure logistics thing that has to take place before it's the great commercial city, the great city that rules over the kings of the earth, described in Revelation 17. It takes time to build that. And I always use the example of Dubai. It's taken 30 years or more to build that huge monstrosity of a city with those tall buildings and fake islands and all that other stuff. But if that Babylon has to come about after, when a lot of people think the rapture occurs, it doesn't magically appear in Iraq. You have to have political stability to be able to build it, to build the infrastructure. And I will say this, if you can shut down the Red Sea, you think you can shut down a canal or a railroad track going up through Iraq the same way? So there's an issue here. And then other people say, well, then that means it's the United States, and the United States will be destroyed first. But Revelation 17, last I look, is kind of towards the end. And then they say, well, Revelation's not in order, so I can dump Babylon wherever I want. And I had these conversations all the time. So I'm not opposed to these views. I think we should talk about them, debate them, argue them, and allow people to ding you for not thinking through the implications of things every now and then. That's me, okay? Maybe that's my gift. But so this is talked about, this, but understand that this Babylon thing comes about in technocracy type discussions. So in 1961, an article was written, and this was the graphic that came about, and it was called The New Babylon. Now I'm going to read this. So this is almost 65 years ago. If you think all this stuff is just recent on AI and everything, now this was not written by, Yuval Noah Harari, because he wasn't even born then. But listen to this. New Babylon wants to be the environment in which we could live, should live, would want to live, if the factors that prevent it are overcome. The design is therefore based on the complete automation of production on an a-commercial, i.e., on a needs-based distribution of foodstuffs and consumer goods from the comprehensive exploitation of the earth, a total urbanization by robotizing labor. The population has free disposal of its time. The interior of New Babylon is focused on a free and creative way of life. It'll be a utopia. You'll own nothing. You'll be very happy. You think that just came up 10 years ago at the World Economic Forum? This has been percolating through this thing about building the kingdom of God on earth for 150 years. And it's interesting that it comes about at this time when Israel's being reconstituted, they're coming back to the land. None of this is by accident. All of this is working together. It's the convergence of everything that we talk about and the acceleration. So 1961, this guy, it sounds like he wrote this for the World Economic Forum meeting that's coming up in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia in a couple weeks. And so this is what the Cradle says. It talks about what's going on in Suwaida. That's the Druze area of southern Syria. It's where the area of where the Syrian civil war started back in 2011. And now it's where the people, the Christians and Druze that live there, are being persecuted, killed, tortured by the new Syrian government. So this Cradle magazine, internet site, says this: the battle for Suwaida is not really about sectarianism or governance. It is a war between two infrastructure visitors, one Turkish, one Israeli. So I'm going to talk about Turkey the next Saturday, Lord willing. Each project aims to dictate the routes of trade, energy, and influence in post-Assad Assyria. What does the Cradle believe? They believe that Syria is the pivot point of the trade routes of the future. Whether they come through Iraq or Iran or Saudi Arabia, they're going through Syria. And so this battle for southern Syria there along the Golan Heights is about a battle for control of the area that's going to be the trade routes of the great commerce that's going to come upon the earth and solve everybody's problems. So Shara, despite his roots in Al-Qaeda and ISIS, has become a placeholder for Turkish interests. Boy, this is 100% true. But without genuine alliances or internal legitimacy, he faces the full weight of Israeli hostility. The Battle of Suwaida is the first real test of the post-Assad era. The outcome will shape not only Syria's future borders, but the entire transport and power map of the region. It will also determine whether the new Syria will follow Turkey's development road or Israel's so-called peace line. Now, I'm just going to ask you a question. Does that sound like it kind of maybe could be a little bit related to Bible prophecy? When the secular people who have no knowledge of what we talk about are talking in these terms, it's a very, I say it so much I'm boring myself. But, no, not really. But when they're saying it, then you who know it and study it ought to pay attention. And that's not to build up what I'm doing.